it's all about money. Depending on where you are in the world, Apple has just launched one, two, or no ways for it to get your cash or more of your cash. But if you're in the right places and you have the right needs, these new options can be very good for us as writers. Let me show you what's happened. I mean, after all, who else should you turn to for financial advice than a writer? Hello, I'm William Gallagher, and this is 58 Keys, which, as ever, as always, is for writers like you and me who use and write on Macs and iPhones and iPads. Do please like and subscribe, mostly because you know the difference it makes. You know how much that helps, but also because it's about the only free thing we're going to be talking about today. Anyway, the biggest of the two potential new Apple money launches really is called Apple Upgrade, which is solely in America. It's a way to buy Apple devices for less upfront and with various options that might actually suit you well. Again, though, it's only in the US, and the US has also about a year, call it long, had an insurance plan called AppleCare One, but that is now launching here in the UK, where I am, plus France, Germany, and Australia. In both cases, right, it is surely certain that these things will spread worldwide, but it might not be quick. Yeah? And it is also surely certain why Apple is doing this. Last year, Apple had a pretty spectacular success with the iPhone 17 range, but this year, well, there's a global processor and memory shortage that's driven prices up hugely. And, the worldwide economy, could be better, couldn't it, really? Plus, Apple is also expected to launch a foldable iPhone this year, which is also therefore expected to be the most expensive iPhone ever conceived of. It's a pretty bad year to launch that. And especially since Apple is also going to have to struggle to convince all of last year's buyers to upgrade again so soon. It looks like the company was going to come out with all of these expensive devices, and it was not going to go as brilliantly as they might hope. You're having a laugh, really. Now, especially with Apple Upgrade in the US, Apple's going to have a much better year than it would have. And that's why Apple is doing it, and that's, well, nice for them. It's clever, actually, but the thing is that under certain circumstances, what Apple has done for itself here is also good for us. The devil's in the details, of course, as it always is, and as it especially always is with money. So, first, if I may, here are the key things I think you need to know and consider if you are thinking of using Apple Upgrade in the US. And then, well, the same, really. What's significant, what you need to just be careful of with AppleCare One insurance in the US, France, Germany, Australia, and the UK. Apple Upgrade is a lease program. You pay a certain monthly fee for a certain number of months. And that's it, really. I mean, the fee varies depending on the device you're using, and you're also given a limited choice of how many months that you can spread this out over. Whatever you pick, the lease will come to an end, of course, but when it does, you can hand back the iPhone or the Mac to Apple. You can say thank you very much, and you can walk away. Or from kind of the middle of the lease to the end-ish, something like that, you can return the device and get a new one, and the latest version, the upgraded version. There are costs for changing devices early, but this is how the old iPhone upgrade program has worked for, 10 years or so? This replaces that, by the way, at least in America. Or you can do this at the end of the lease. You can buy the device. That means paying whatever remains of the retail price after you take off all the money that you've been paying out every month for however long it is. Pay that difference, own the device, walk away. Apple Upgrade is solely for iPhones, iPads, Macs, and Apple Watch. This is not a way, for instance, to get an Apple Vision Pro headset, and it doesn't include AirPods, Apple TV, HomePods, any of that. But then within any of the devices that it does support, There are differences depending on the configuration of the device you want to get, the configuration of the phone, or whatever, the storage, that kind of thing. And as I say, there are different term limits, so I can tell you that one. For the iPhone and the Apple Watch, you have the choice of paying out, leasing over either 12 months or 24 months. For the Mac and the iPad, the choice is either 24 or 36 months, so 2 or 3 years. Yeah, I don't want to turn this into a shopping channel, but so you have a feel for this, at least. The cheapest iPhone that's available, not all of them are, the cheapest one you can get under this program is the iPhone 17e with its base 256 gigabytes of storage, and that would cost you $25 per month over 12 months or $18 per month over 24 months. Kind of towards the other end of the scale, just to give you a measure of the gap. If you wanted an iPhone 17 Pro Max with 256 gigabytes, that's $50 per month for a year or $35 per month over 2 years. You can get both models of phone with more storage, and the price, I don't think this is going to startle you, will go up. Similarly, let's do a brief bit with the Mac. The base 13-inch MacBook Air is $35 over 2 years or $25 per month over 3 years. The Mac Studio M4 Max, again, that's the base model, go with that. That's $68 per month over 2 years or $49 per month over 3. Look, you may be very well be more familiar than I am with the concept, because car companies have been doing it for roughly the last forever. But there is one unusual thing here. Apple is not making more money out of this. It isn't charging you more for the same devices. If you lease an iPhone per year, say, and then you buy it by paying whatever's left over, your final purchase price is exactly what it would be if you just bought the phone straight out at the start. Plus, I've never leased a car, so I don't know if this applies there, but with Apple Upgrade, you can start off by trading in an old device. Yeah, Apple kind of undervalues everything, but it will take some money off the purchase price of the new device, and so therefore off the monthly lease price as well. Also, despite the really, really strong rumours, I mean more than rumours, people found code for this exact thing in the iOS 27 betas. Apple has not included an option in Apple Upgrade for the company, to restrict your use of your device. It was expected that if you missed a payment, that this feature would kick in and limit what you could use on, say, your iPhone until you're paid up. There's none of that. Not a single whisper of it. What there is that if you do miss one payment, it rolls on to the next and next, and yeah, at some point, collection agents are going to be calling you. There are so many terms and conditions, as you can imagine, but this really seems to be about getting more people through the doors for Apple than it is about finding new ways to skim us. Although that said, Apple has a new way to skim us. That might be a bit harsh. Yeah. This new Apple Upgrade program replaces the old iPhone Upgrade program in the US, and I presume in the US, it also replaces the somewhat newer Mac Upgrade program. I tend to forget that one exists. But what it doesn't do is replace everything in that program. The iPhone Upgrade program had AppleCare insurance baked in to the price. You could not have the iPhone without that insurance. And now, yeah, you can. Apple Upgrade doesn't include any AppleCare insurance. And I suppose on the one hand, it does actually mean that at least some monthly payments under this new program are slightly less than they were under the old one. But on the other hand, these are still expensive devices, and you're not owning this. Apple is. I'm actually quite a recent convert to AppleCare. Well, a recent near convert. It used to be back in the day, right, that AppleCare was an insurance package, and you bought it at the same moment you bought your iPhone or your Mac or whatever. And it was insurance for, I think it was always 2 or 3 years. So, well, actually, for one thing, after 2 or 3 years, you couldn't get coverage for your device, not from Apple. But more pressingly for me anyway, it used to be that 2 or 3 years of AppleCare meant hundreds of pounds or dollars. It was all up front. It was all due at the time, at the moment you were buying the device. So really what it did was raise the purchase price from just about affordable to, oh, come on, seriously, no, I'll buy something else. For me anyway. Things then subsequently changed so that you didn't have to buy AppleCare at exactly the point of sale. You had 60 days to make up your mind, and 60 days for your iPhone to keep prodding you about it. Much more recently, though, and this is what converted me, Apple began offering what they called AppleCare Plus with the option to pay monthly. That's not available for everything. Things again like the HomePod, Apple TV, AirPod, things like that, they're still multi-year upfront costs, but my iPad Pro costs me £8.49 per month for insurance that will cover accidental damage and things like replacing the battery. It also covers the Apple Pencil Pro and the keyboard that goes with it, and it will do that forever. There is no cut-off at the 3-year point. Okay, that does mean Apple keeps getting my money, but it also means I've still got the device covered. At the same time as bringing out Apple Upgrade, sans AppleCare, in the United States though, Apple has both improved this AppleCare Plus that I have for single devices and launched AppleCare One to cover multiple devices in the UK where I am, plus France and Germany, Australia, and it was already in the US. Apple has launched AppleCare. Tell me that doesn't sound like a spaceship. But anyway, focus. Just to get this out of the way first, the little thing, the improvement for single devices like my AppleCare Plus for my iPad is that if you take it out now, it includes coverage for theft and loss for iPads and Apple Watch. It already did for the iPhone as well. Presumably those get nicked the most often, but now it's on all three of them. It's across all three. Or of course it is for people taking out that insurance now. I mean, I can't imagine that my insurance will be, retrospectively updated, but I'm also a bit surprised that Apple hasn't already prodded me to switch to the new AppleCare One. As I say, though, this AppleCare Plus that I have, it's coverage for the one device I have chosen, the iPad in my case. The new AppleCare One in the right countries is for covering any 3 devices. Well, actually more, but it starts with 3. For £16.99 here in the UK and about the equivalent across all of the countries with it, I could now insure that iPad, my Apple Watch and the iPhone that's filming this. One payment, 3 devices, and that one payment can be less than you would pay before if you did them all separately. It really, really depends on which 3 devices you want to insure. But for example, if I were to take out individual AppleCare Plus for my iPad, my Apple Watch and this iPhone, it would cost me £18.97. So about £2 more per month than the new AppleCare One here, £24 per year. Not earth-shaking, but you wouldn't say no, would you? It gets more complicated because I just said to you that my iPad coverage does not include theft and loss. Well, it doesn't, I wouldn't lie to you, but I could have spent more to add that. According to Apple's figures, because I'm really kind of at my limit of counting on my fingers now, if I had done that, if I had got theft and loss for all 3 devices, and then I switched from AppleCare Plus times 3 to AppleCare One times 1, I would save £11.48 per month. That's nearly £140 per year. So, saving money. This is good. It does also seem very unlike Apple, but there you go. Gift horse, mouth, but do look at Apple's details, linked below. For what 3 devices you choose to cover, or for what 4 devices, or 5, or 6, because as well as this standard issue 3 device version, you can add on any number of other devices into the mix, and that can be a pretty spectacular saving. Or it can't. For each further device that you want, you pay £4.99, or if you're playing along in other currencies, pretty much the same everywhere. But separate individual cover, for example, for an Apple Watch, it can be £2.49, and I suspect you may not need me to tell you that £2.49 is less than £4.99. Look at the quality of information. In that case, obviously, it's a bad idea to add an Apple Watch as your fourth device. But if your fourth device turns out to be a Mac or an iPad or an iPhone, the savings are substantial. If it's an Apple Vision Pro headset, well, it's ridiculously cheaper to do it this way. Plus, one more thing, one really key thing, big new difference. The devices you insure through AppleCare One do not have to be new. They can be up to 4 years old if they're in good condition. Don't figure on joining AppleCare One if you have already smashed the screen on your iPhone. Okay? Apple may even ask you to bring the device into an Apple store to be inspected before they'll cover it. Seems fair enough, really. So Starship AppleCare One can be a good deal under the right circumstances. In fact, actually, I mean, it can be a great deal. And Apple Upgrade in the US, it will keep more money in your bank account in the short term. So the things you can hear me being a bit hesitant, and it's really only because we're talking about money here. I am certain that this lower upfront cost of Apple Upgrade, it's going to tempt some people to buy expensive Apple gear that then gets them into debt that they can't pay off. I think it's kind of inevitable that will happen. But then, on the other hand, that same lower upfront cost means for other people who are able to manage it, this is a way to get Apple devices and get using them sooner, easier than before. I don't know. I'm not able to get Apple Upgrade because I'm in the UK, but if I were in the US, and this is the most important part, if I was also in the market for a new Mac or iPhone, iPad or Apple Watch, I would strongly consider it. Since the final purchase price is the same whether you lease like this or you buy outright, like I say, it'd be a way of keeping more cash in your bank account, earning interest instead of earning interest for Apple. Instead of it being outright capital expenditure, it could be better for you. I am eligible for AppleCare One, and if I do buy a new iPhone this September, don't know, I will consider it. The thing to consider, though, for me and for you, is that this is a purchase. These are purchases you have to take your time about. You can't jump into anything financially. And if it's a choice between my advice to you as a writer to writer, or you talking to someone else who knows what they're talking about, well, I really don't think that's a difficult choice, is it? But we do write on costly devices, and this new insurance program could help. The new Apple Upgrade program could help. So I at least wanted to point you at it. Also, I'm kind of thinking aloud at you. Yeah. I should say Apple Upgrade available in the US, like I say. AppleCare One, though, launches in the UK, France, Germany, and Australia from August 4, 2026. So as this first goes out, it's next week. I've got a while to think about it. Well, I can keep thinking about it as long as I like, really. But now, actually, while you wait for that August 4th, it'd be really good and clever now if I had another video that I could point you to that's relevant, that's related. But I don't think I've ever really covered AppleCare exciting insurance before. So try this. YouTube's algorithm is going to offer up to you a video of mine from 58 Keys that it is certain will be useful to you, specifically you. And I am so curious to know what it could be. But while I wonder, do let me know. Let me know in the comments, what did it give you? Thank you for watching this, though. Take care of yourself, write more, and I'll see you soon.